Welcome back. Now, with part one, I briefly touched onto what MMA was all about, where you can find it, where what it really is, and what it does to your nails. Now, here in part two, I will talk about what it does to your body. Now, think of it as more like an MMA menu. That's how I'm going to put it. All right, so as an appetizer in this MMA menu, you can expect to get skin allergies, contact dermatitis. Now, what's contact dermatitis? Think of it as a skin irritation. So it's rashes that appear soon after being exposed to a substance. Now, with normal irritations, basically it fades away within minutes or to hours. Now, whereas for contact dermatitis, it actually takes days and days for it to fade away. And even then, contact dermatitis, it fades away only if the skin is no longer in contact with that substance or irritant. Now, contact dermatitis results in large, burning, itchy, and painful rashes. And basically, that can take up to several days or even several weeks for it to heal. Now, there's something else called chronic contact dermatitis, and that is when you're no longer in contact with the substance or irritant. In this case, that's the MMA, and the symptoms just don't go away. And that's why sometimes you see nail technicians or manicure therapists, they wear gloves or even plastic gloves. So they're trying to avoid this chronic contact dermatitis. Oh my God, that's more like a tongue twister. Blah. Okay, so next we're going to move on to the main dish of this menu. You can expect to get respiratory problems, eye, nose, and throat irritations. So as you can see, it's getting progressively worse. Just these things I'm talking about. These things are quite serious. So MMA vapors are quite toxic and poisonous, even in small doses, and it can cause lung, liver, or even heart valve damages, especially when you're in contact with these things for like a long period of time. So think of it as something that nail technicians would experience, or just frequent or even regular nail salon visitors. That's people like us. And this has been documented and in lab animals, as well as lab techs from dental labs, where they take crowns, where they make crowns in for example, our grandma's dentures. They have that problem as well. And wearing a mask does nothing to keep one from breathing in MMA fumes, unless it's like a gas mask. But you don't see people wearing that at nail salons. But what it really does, what that paper mask really does, is to reduce the inhalation of acrylic dust. But of course, just because someone or a nail tech is wearing a paper mask, it doesn't necessarily mean they're using a product with MMA in it. So don't just flip or go crazy when you see someone wearing those masks. So that's just one of the reasons why they can be wearing it, thinking that it can protect them from the fumes. But that's only one of the reasons. So look for quite a few things here. Think of it as a checklist as well. Also, this MMA, it can cause you severe allergic reactions. So if you are keep being exposed to products with MMA, liquid forms of MMA, it can result in very severe allergic reactions. For example, redness, swelling, itching. These are the standards that you can expect to get, which can lead to the development of puny, tiny little blisters around the cuticles and the fingertips. And these blisters can develop into open sores, and the fingertips may become numb, or they can feel itchy under the nail, and you can't really scratch that, but you'll feel that, and it's very horrible. It's not something that anyone wants to experience. And worst off, I have seen technicians working on clients' hands when they have open wounds, and be it cuts or just open blisters. Eek. Ugh. But yay for the bacteria and organic substances. It's like a VIP pass for them now. It's just so easy to enter our bodies now. Woo! Okay, and what's more in for us after all this? Okay, here comes the dessert to top everything off. So on top of all that I just said, okay, it can also damage your nervous system. And these symptoms can actually include like pins and needles, and you can feel super duper numb and more weakness. Oh, geez. Okay, and also you can feel confusion, this inability to remember things, or to concentrate. And many times we actually blame it on other things, not knowing that this can actually be a result of inhaling or being in contact with MMA. From my personal experience, actually, I'm talking about, oh God, when I was in my teenage years, I was just experimenting with acrylic nails, and I bought this kit, not paying attention to what brand it was or if it contained MMA or not. Now, thinking back, it's very likely that it did, and I don't even know if that brand was actually a brand. It's just some generic kit. And when that night, when after I was working on my nails, and of course, when we do our own nails, we tend to keep it quite close to our face, looking at the details. But what I didn't know until that night was that I had weird dreams. I couldn't sleep. My hands were shaking, my nose was running, I had heart palpitations, and I had irregular heartbeats. The reason why I know was because when my heart was pounding, I was feeling my pulse, and I realized that that beat is nothing near regular. And also when I looked into the mirror, I realized that my pupils weren't dilating correctly. Like they weren't, even on both sides, both of my pupils weren't contracting or expanding at the same rate. It's kind of scary. And some severe side effects may include things like abnormal liver or kidney function, and nervous system damage, and reproductive system problems, or even reproductive problems. That's the things that you don't really see. So that's why I call it the silent killer. And while MMA will not store in the tissue, listen to this, it's actually stored as methanol in our blood and urine. And you don't want methanol in your body either. Now, last, this stuff can damage the developing fetus. So that's babies in the stomach. So next time you see someone who's pregnant in a salon, or if you have a friend who's pregnant and thinking of getting her nails done for acrylics, she might want to think again what kind of products they're using in this salon. Not only can it harm her, but her baby as well. Now, last, just keep in mind, this is not a scare tactic. It's not something that I use. It's really the basic menu you should expect when choosing from the so-called MMA menu.